Hi everyone, hope you are safe and well. Welcome back to Horrible Histories Club. Last week we looked at the terrible Tudors with Miserable Mary. This week we're going to look at the Savage Stone Age. Just of the human race. How do humans get to being the world's top beasts? Our ancestors had to be handy and wise, and the race began when an ape stood up. In Africa, about 4 million years ago, an early ape got the idea of standing up on two legs. It was way cooler to travel, and he could walk further and further. The human story might have begun here. These early upright apes were short, small-brained and hairy. They spent most of their time looking for leaves and fruit to eat, when they weren't dodging hungry animals with sharp teeth. But then, a more human-like creature evolved, the Handyman. He had the idea of chipping stones to make sharp-edged tools, and they had a tool as sharp as any lion's teeth, and the Stone Age had begun. The Handyman was mostly vegetarian, but he would eat meat when he could get his hands on it. As if there weren't enough species already, an even bigger and smarter early human evolved, the upright man. He knew how to make even better tools, and he even started hunting his own food with a newfangled invention, the spear. Africa was getting pretty crowded. At one time, southern apes, handys and uprights were all living there together. But they weren't necessarily playing happy families. In fact, they may well have hunted and eaten each other. The uprights with their bigger brains and better tools survived, whilst the southern apes and the handys died out. Then, about 1.8 million years ago, some upright humans decided to leave Africa and go into Asia and Europe. Good news for them, bad news for the animals that lived in Europe and Asia. About this time, the uprights made a technological breakthrough. They discovered the secrets of fire. Fire was not only useful for driving away hungry beasts and keeping warm, it was great for making hot dinners. Table manners came a lot later. They made fire just in time, because then the Earth went into an ice age. As the Earth cooled, huge rivers of ice moved across the planet. About 800,000 years ago, our first direct ancestors showed up in Africa. They were called Homo Sapiens, which means wise humans. They were pretty much identical to us, just a bit uglier. Some wise humans travelled to cold Europe, that doesn't sound very wise, and gradually adapted to cope with the chilly weathers. These were the toughest early humans, Neanderthals. They hunted mammoths and other dangerous animals. Meanwhile, the wise humans in Africa slowly evolved into wise humans, Homo sapiens sapiens. These modern humans were smart and good looking, just like you. Modern humans spread out all over the world. So they went to Asia, where they slaughtered woolly mammoths to build their houses out of bones, to America, where they killed off all the giant sloths, to Australia, where they hunted all the giant wombats, and as they spread out across the planet, the wise humans pushed the uprights, wise humans and Neanderthals out. About 27,000 years ago, wise humans were the only ones left, and a new chapter was about to begin. In the Middle East, people learned how to plant seeds and grow crops. They invented farming. This meant they could grow food and stay in one place instead of wandering all over the place looking for food. The idea of farming spread across the world, and farmers settled down in groups and built towns. But before they knew it, the towns started fighting. Towns and people had invented war. In the Middle East, people discovered something better than stone, metal. At first they used copper, but then they discovered how to make a stronger metal called bronze. It was used for making all kinds of things, like swords, spears and armour. The Stone Age was over, and the Bronze Age, as history knows it, had begun. That's a mammoth pile-up. So when it's mammoth versus Neanderthal in the chilly Ice Age. Watch out for that cliff. So spears weren't the only weapons Neanderthals had. They used fire and loud yells to freak out their prehistoric prey and drive them towards the edge. Bruised and broken hunters were dragged out of the way and taken care of. The Neanderthals looked after their wounded. These hairy beasts, the mammoths, not the men, could run around 18 miles an hour, which is not easy to stop. Rounding up mammoths was tough work. Hunters were bashed, stomped and beaten, a bit like modern day rodeo riders are. But the mammoths were bigger and madder than any horse or bull. Neanderthals were much stronger than modern humans, and they had to wrestle these jumbo-sized joints of meat. Neanderthals weren't boneheads. They worked out how to use the cliffs to kill their prey. Getting a herd to fall over a cliff was the best way to have a mass mammoth massacre, but they had to get them there first. Neanderthals just had to wait underneath the cliff to collect their mammoth steaks. Just don't try to catch the mammoths as they land. Mammoth wasn't the only Neanderthal nosh. They also picked out on deer, musk, ox and woolly rhino. Well, that's it for today's Horrible History Club. Hope you enjoyed it and tune in for next week.